So, myself and a couple of my friends have been enthusiasts in the cryptocurrency space for some time now. And we came to the realization that there's some market opportunity here to provide a service that solves some of the issues that all the previous services have offered. The primary motivation for me, anyway, is how many people talk to me who aren't IT experts, or who aren't familiar with cryptocurrency and how they work, and want to get involved. They want to invest. They want to, they see it as the future, and they know that the sooner they get in, the better. But right now, it's very complicated to get in. It's very difficult to figure out, how to buy, where to buy, what to buy, and there's just a lot of barrier to entry there. Now, there have been some platforms that were easy for people to use, and almost every single one of them has ended up being some kind of scam. I'm thinking of, BitConnect, BitPetite, other platforms like that, where you go to a website, you can just invest a little bit of cryptocurrency or something, and get some returns. But all of those sites so far have been scams. So I got to thinking about a way that you could create a user-friendly, easy-to-use site like that, where people could invest and make money, and have it not be a scam. Have it be completely 100% transparent. Have it be based on some solid math that's irrefutable. And there is a way to do that right now in the cryptocurrency space, and that's with Masternode coins. Masternode coins are a proof-of-stake type of coin, and when you're holding a certain amount of that coin in a wallet, you are running the network, and you're collecting a small percentage of transaction fees from everybody who buys or sells that coin on the market. Now, there's a lot of Masternode coins you can buy right now that I think would be a good investment because the metrics behind how they work are solid and all that sort of thing. But it's still very hard to purchase Masternodes. It's very hard to set up a Masternode. It's very complex. It costs a lot of money. It's not something that your average end user, working some kind of dead-end job for some kind of dead-end corporation, is going to be able to get home at the end of the day, put $1 in, and watch that dollar turn into $1 and a penny, or $1 and a fraction of a penny. Some kind of slow, steady growth. But I was thinking about creating a web interface so that people could invest in a Masternode, or even just a fraction of a Masternode, very simply and easily, and to do so with a credit card or a bank card or some type of format of money that's easier for them to use that they're already used to using. Now they'd be able to make an investment and see returns on that investment, and also get into the cryptocurrency space. And I want to make it drag and drop easy. Easier than drag and drop. Literally, you just click in, you log in, you put in your credit card, and you can invest however much you want, from $1 to $100, however much you want. Now, some of these sites that were like this before, that were definitely scams, like BitConnect, BitPetite, etc., they offered a very high interest rate, and that's kind of one of the ways that you could tell that they were a scam. And so my thought was, what if in our site we offer a very low interest rate, and it's just based solely on the coins that the Masternode earns every day. And if you own a percentage of that Masternode, then you get a percentage of the returns of that Masternode every day. And it could be a very small percentage. If it used some of the metrics that we're kind of bandying about at the moment are 20,000 coins, and every day the Masternode would earn approximately 60 coins per Masternode. Something similar to Neutron. Neutron's one of the Masternode coins that I think has a good team and a good plan, and the way they work is solid and legitimate. So I was thinking we could model our Masternode coin after Neutron, but with with a couple of fundamental key differences. One, we want to keep the value of the coin high, so that our investors, if they come in and buy $1 worth of coin, the next day it's going to be worth $1.01 worth of coin. Just because of scarcity and market demand, we want the value of the coin to go up very quickly. And one of the ways we can do that primarily is by limiting supply, obviously. Now, limiting supply is one thing, but also even coins that have a fairly limited supply, there's people who run scams, pump and dump schemes, and all kinds of different scams with that coin anyway, on the various market exchanges, whether that's Cryptopia or Binance or Yobit. I mean, you see these pump and dump scams going on all the time, where people buy a whole lot of coins at a low price and then pump the price way up and then sell them all when they get to the top, leaving a lot of bag holders behind losing money. So one of the ways I felt we could combat that was by limiting the supply even more than some of the other limited supply coins. And what I mean by that is not having very many of the coins out on the open market. If the coins that exist are being held in active masternodes that are either paying returns to our investors or paying returns to those of us in the company who are making the entire system work, whether that's running the data center, editing the coin code, running the web interface, managing the database that's going to glue all that together. If we limit the supply of the coins out in the open market to a very small amount, it's going to be harder for bad actors to manipulate them in a pump and dump scheme, etc. Especially if the coins that do exist are incredibly transparent and everybody knows where they are, what they're doing, how they're being used, why they're being used for that, etc. So, anyway, yeah, we've got most of the white paper done. We're working on it. The truth is, I haven't really written white paper, so I need to look at a lot of other white papers and base mine off of those other white papers. Kind of steal some of the language and format from some of them. But I think we've got a very, very solid working concept here. And I think I've got a pretty good team, too. I'm really excited about two of my partners in particular, and I'm working on a third partner. If I get that third partner, we're pretty much going to go to the moon right away, at least on the technology, maybe not on the price. Although, I was thinking about a way, now if we've got an extremely limited supply of coin, then automatically the price is going to be a little bit higher just due to scarcity. But what if we didn't release very many coins out into the open market during our ICO phase? Instead of selling coins at a certain hard fixed price, we sell a limited amount of coins, because my idea was to only have as many coins in the open market as it would take for a masternode. Right now, the number I'm kind of shooting for is 20,000 for a masternode. So we would only sell 20,000 coins. And then I was thinking, too, that it would be nice to release those coins very slowly, but exponentially more coins per day as we move forward and get more users and more interest and more people trying to buy the coin. Trying to keep that price, high per coin for our team and for our investors, but also trying to add some stability. Because the reality is, on day one, it's unlikely we're going to get 1 million users on day one. But on day 100, it's possible we could have 1 million users. So one of my thoughts was, what if we released 1 coin on day 1, 2 coins on day 2, 3 coins on day 3, etc. And then as we're releasing those coins, which, remember, we're only releasing 20,000 coins all told. So that would take about 6 months to get to the point where we're going to release all 20,000 coins. A little bit more than 6 months. I ran a spreadsheet earlier today looking at those numbers specifically. And then I thought, well, what about instead of selling the coin at a hard fixed price, we just auction the coins that we're selling that day and let the market decide what those coins are worth. And I played with that idea quite a bit, and there's a lot of things I like about that idea. Obviously, it could drive the value of the coin very, very high very quickly, but I'm not sure that it would keep the coin value sustainable over the long term. And also, that would really limit the amount of people who could get into the platform on the ground floor. I mean, if we're only selling one coin on one day, and we're auctioning off one coin, and one person buys it, whatever the price of the coin that they end up buying it at, you know, that could very much inflate the price of the coin very high, but it also limits our users to be, you know, one per day. So we're only gonna have 20,000 users by the end of the ICO phase. That doesn't seem like enough to me for something that I want to become a global phenomena, a global platform for investors, you know, including people who haven't traditionally invested, you know, kids, old people, you know, maybe even people with special needs. I mean, I want to make it really, really easy for people to be able to invest $1 and watch that dollar make them a penny over a few days or something like that. I haven't figured out the interest rate exactly that it would be when you're doing the dollar amount. But some of the math is pretty easy to figure out when you talk about how much a masternode returns per day and how much somebody is going to be holding worth of a masternode at the end of the ICO phase and stuff like that. So, I mean, if you got 20,000 coins and a person's holding one coin and the masternode's paying 60 coins a day, it's pretty easy to figure out the math on how much of a coin they would be receiving every day as part of that masternode fund pool. So then I thought, well, what about instead of auctioning off just, you know, 1 or 2 coins a day, what if we let everybody just buy a piece of a coin every day and let that determine the value of the coin? So say we get 20 users that day and every user puts in $1, then that coin is worth $20. And if the next day we're selling 2 coins and there's only 30 users, then each coin would be worth $15 that day. And we're letting the market determine the price of the coin per day by how many users are interested in our platform, in our project. And in this way, we can very organically allow almost as many people as we want to come into the project. My thought was to let any investor who wants to invest in our project right at the get-go and limit it to $1 and say you can only invest $1 in our platform per day. So for those of you who are really on it during the ICO phase and log into the site every day and put $1 in every day, we're talking about 6 months. So we're talking about, you know, I don't know, $400 or something. I mean, it's not a ton of money, but those people are going to be holding the lion's share of the coin during the ICO phase. And maybe it's only fractions of a coin or whatever, but if at that point we have that many users and everybody's still getting that return on their investment, I think that could really benefit everybody, and that rising tide could lift all the boats, our investors, our team, and everybody else. So let's talk a little bit more about the platform that I want to invest, that we're designing, though. It's going to be very similar to some of the other high-yield investment platforms that we've seen in the past, the way it's going to work. But it's going to be a low-yield investment platform. Our interest rates are going to be very low. 20,000 coins only produces 60 coins a day in the masternode system that we're designing. So if you're holding one coin, you're only going to be getting 1/20,000th of the payout of 60 coins. So we could do some fractions there and kind of simplify that. But you get the idea. It's not going to be a whole lot. But if the coin is worth $100 and you're getting 0.0001 a coin, that can be significant. Now you're getting, you know, a penny a day or something on a $100 investment, which isn't really that bad. And that's something like the metrics we're hoping to have. And for those investors who came in and put $1 in every single day from the ICO opening till it closes 7 months later, you'd be looking at a situation where they'd probably have about $400 in there, and they'd be making about 4 cents a day. And we also want to make that 4 cents a day reinvestable, so you could compound the money that you've got in our system. Very slowly. This is at a very low rate. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a get-rich-slow scheme. And very slow, I might add. Unless the value of the coin itself just goes through the roof, which it may, depending on how market demand goes, in which case, all of us coin holders could become wealthy quickly. Now remember though, there's going to be a very limited supply. It's going to be very hard for anybody to get a masternode who's not one of the team members who gets part of the initial pre-mine, or one of the initial investors during the ICO who comes in and buys as much coin as they can every day, which is only $1 worth every day. So again, we're really hoping to democratize and spread out the wealth among a lot of people to discourage any kind of bad actor from coming in and monopolizing the system. So now the other idea that we have too is we're going to completely divorce the database and the credit card transactions from the data center. So there's going to be no way for anybody to come in through the web and manipulate the system and try to manipulate the numbers or steal coins or anything. I mean, there's just going to be absolutely no access to our data center whatsoever. We're going to update the database once a day manually, which also means that none of your transactions will go live until midnight that night. And that also means that there's going to be a 24-hour hold on any activity that's done. But that's it. 24 hours later, you can withdraw everything you put into the platform. 24 hours later, you can put more back into the platform, however you want to do it. But every day at midnight, those transactions are going to get pushed through. And then after that, they're not going to get altered again until the following day at midnight. So as long as you've done everything you want to do on the site, whether that's investing or divesting, whatever you want to do, you'll be able to do that within a 24-hour window. Unlike these other scam programs where they had like a capital release program and all this, forget about the scam sites. We're not doing that. We're doing something similar in ease of use and functionality, but based on legitimate technology, legitimate numbers, and we're going to be 100% transparent so that there's no way for anybody to be confused about it or lost about how we're doing or what we're doing. And also, we're going to allow anybody who wants to withdraw all of their funds within a 24-hour window. So if you log on at 3 p.m. on Tuesday and say, I want to withdraw all my funds, then right at midnight that night, all your funds will go into your own personal wallet. We're going to have a personal wallet, hopefully for all platforms, Android, iOS, Linux, Windows, and Mac OS as well. Probably focusing earlier on Linux and open source technologies, because we really want to encourage that from an ethical standpoint. I think everybody should be using open source products at this point. We may even have a version specifically for Lineage OS and some other open source operating systems that we'd like to encourage our end users to use for their own benefit and for the benefit of society. So yeah, anyway, so these are some of the things we're doing. Now, naturally, because it's a masternode coin and not a proof of work coin, it's going to be very environmentally sustainable. Masternodes don't take very much power to run, unlike mining for Bitcoin or Litecoin or one of those proof of work coins. It's going to be very distributed. We're going to have the initial 4 or 5 masternodes that exist. We haven't really done the math yet on that. There's really only going to be 4 or 5 to start, and they're going to be at data centers all over the world, and they're going to be very secure, unhackable, all that sort of thing. So yeah, anyway, that's part of the initial plan, and who knows, maybe someday this will be a little piece of historic history based on the success of the project.